Which fantasy football player compares favorably to your favorite Thanksgiving dish? Of course, that's the topic for this week's Fantasy Football Survival Kit episode because it's Thanksgiving week. We're a little early this week talking about these player comparisons, and it's super important. I'll be honest, I'm so excited we got to get right into it because some of these are really funny. I laughed more this week compiling these tweets than any other week. Let's go ahead. No more wasting time. Let's get into it. This one comes in from Rig Third. Brady is the turkey and the New England defense is the green bean casserole. The day is always centered around the turkey, but the consistently elite green bean casserole is the real star of the day. Well, I hate to tell you that this first one is right off the bat super wrong because number one, turkey is actually really good. But I will also say green bean casserole sucks. The most overrated Thanksgiving dish. Are you kidding me? You can't overrate the New England defense. They've been so incredible, but you can sure as hell get the hell out of here. Green bean casserole is disgusting. Next. This next one comes in from @soul2smelt, something like that. Christian McCaffrey is mac and cheese, the undisputed champ of the table. Even when he's not at his best, he's still good. Love this take because number one, it is kind of disgusting to me how I'm finding out how many people do not have mac and cheese at Thanksgiving. You all need to get your together. I will be personally making the mac and cheese at my Thanksgiving celebration this year. And if you don't have it, well, you're probably a loser. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't have Christian McCaffrey on your fantasy team, you're probably losing this year too. So perfect comparison. Next. This one comes in from @Gordon_Bombay. Curtis Samuel equals Brussels sprouts. There's always that one person pushing them on you and swearing they are good. Well, this was a direct attack on me because not only did I lead the hype train on Curtis Samuel this offseason, I was also the self-proclaimed king of Brussels sprouts Twitter 3 years ago. And you know what? Listen, Brussels sprouts took some time to become as popular as they are. You can't go to one of these hipster-ass restaurants in LA and not find a good Brussels sprouts dish on the appetizer menu. And guess what? You will not be finding lists of wide receivers that are actually good that don't have Curtis Samuel on them. It's just not going to happen this year because Kyle Allen's a quarterback, whatever. But the point is, both of these things are going to take a little time to become as good as I always knew they would be. Next. This one comes in from @P. Nyman or Neiman. Frank Gore is stuffing, immensely steady, somehow unsung, yet Hall of Fame quality. I can kind of get with this one because I think stuffing, it's been here for the long haul. It's a very classic dish. Like you said, it's steady. I don't know that Frank Gore's ever been one of the 5 best running backs in the NFL or anything, but he has longevity, and there's something to be said about that. And the fact that stuffing has somehow stuck around this long, that's pretty impressive too. Next. This one comes in from @TheDude from AF1. David Montgomery is canned corn. Empty calories, best kept on the shelf. This is one of the best ones because yes, there has been nothing more just needless than all the David Montgomery hype. When you can get yourself a starting running back on a Mitchell Trubisky offense, do anything other than that. And also, by the way, enough with corn on Thanksgiving table. There's so many delicious, wonderful things to eat. You do not need canned corn sitting there just sucking up space. You do not need to be messing around with corn. Next. This next one comes in from @TheCurseFantasy. Lamar Jackson is the bottle of wine. He makes everything around him better. Hell yeah, let me tell you, if you're not drinking on Thanksgiving, you're messing up. If you think the turkey's disappointing, drink more wine. You think the stuffing's kind of a letdown? Get a buzz on. You realize no one has any mac and cheese at this party? Well, maybe finish that entire bottle of wine because you're obviously at a disaster of a Thanksgiving celebration. By the way, if you don't have Lamar Jackson on your fantasy team, I think you're probably gonna need to be drinking a little more of that wine too. Next. This next one comes in from Shell WB. Jameis Winston is that casserole that looks good, but sometimes it's great and sometimes it tastes like a shoe. I think Jameis Winston as a casserole is actually a perfect comparison because of just what you said. You never know what you're going to get. When we're looking at a casserole, we know there's a huge risk. We know that every third casserole is probably going to be that 3-interception disaster, just like Jameis Winston is going to inevitably give you every 3 or 4 games. So I think this was a perfect comparison. Next, this one comes in from @SocialIntrovert. Devontae Parker is collard greens. Not the most appetizing at first sight, but you'll be happy they're on your plate. And this is great too, because it's time we acknowledge Devontae Parker. We give him a little bit of love. Look, if you are a fantasy football player, I guarantee you've talked some about Devontae Parker at some point. Collard greens are very good salty, good vinegarness, and that's about the way playing Devontae Parker feels. But it's time you show both of these things a little bit of respect. Next. This one comes in from @Musings of Cody J. Ezekiel Elliott is green bean casserole. Kind of overrated, way overhyped by basic people. Yeah, next. This one comes in from @Juris Morte. I have no idea. Because Dalvin Cook is smooth, his moves are sweet, and he crunches right through defenses. He is your sweet potato dish. I think this comparison for Dalvin Cook is perfect. He has those sweet, elusive moves that you want, but he is powerful. He's got that crunch of a workhorse back, but I hate this version of sweet potatoes. I don't need marshmallows on top of something. That's disgusting. I decided to get that off my chest. It's not important. To your point, it's a fine comparison for the player. Next. This one comes in from, I can't read that, Saquon Barkley is turkey. Supposed to be the star of the show, but wildly inconsistent and overshadowed by other dishes. Turkey needs help. You should fry it. You should smoke it. You should make sure you get a lot of sauces on there, a lot of seasoning, a lot of herbs and some butter to make that thing taste just right. And same thing with the running back like Saquon Barkley. You can't just stick them in any old can of an offense and expect them to be great. They need an offensive line. They need a quarterback. They need some competency in the play calling department. Running backs are dependent on their surroundings. So are turkey. Next. This one comes in from @Grumpus101. Kalen Ballage. He's actually not a food. He's the feeling after you've eaten way too much and feel like you have to puke. Does anything else need to be said? Kalen Ballage, playing him in fantasy does make you want to puke. Don't overeat this Thanksgiving and puke. Next. This one comes from @LifeIsTheLeague. Mason Rudolph is cranberry sauce. He makes everything around him worse and is a big favorite of your uncle who makes questionable statements at dinner. That second part, I'm gonna let that stand on its own. I'm gonna let you all figure that one out for yourself. But that first part, I'm gonna agree with you because cranberry sauce is disgusting. Get it the f off my Thanksgiving table. I don't eat it in my life. If your turkey and your mashed potatoes and everything else is so bad that you need to drop this sugary, sticky, gross, disgusting product all over it, then you've messed up somewhere along the way. Just like the Steelers obviously messed up somewhere along the way. They've got Mason Rudolph behind center. Give me a break. That guy sucks. Next. This one comes in from Brian P. and then a series of a bunch of numbers I'm not going to read. David Johnson is instant mashed potatoes in a box. Looks real when it's sitting out there, but will disappoint you and probably make you sick. David Johnson was great several years ago. He was awesome, one of the best things in fantasy. There was one point in my life when I told my mother straight to her face, I think the potatoes out of the box are actually better than the ones that you make homemade. I mean, my God, how the hell she didn't slap me right in the head is unbelievable to me, but let's be clear about one thing. Mashed potatoes in the box are disgusting. You should always make them yourself. Be a real adult, okay? Grow up. You don't need mashed potatoes out of a box. If that's what you're serving in Thanksgiving, you need to just take the next 5 days off and think about your choices. Next. This one comes in from @JoeyT5656. Derrick Henry gotta be candied yams because, no, actually, I don't know, but Derrick Henry is awesome. And also they say Jameis Winston must be the ham. Some people love him, but some people hate him. Contrarian. I don't really know how to feel about this because I'm very on the record saying I do not like Jameis Winston, but ham, it's like the opposite of Jameis Winston. And I'm a ham truther. I will also be making ham in the slow cooker for my Thanksgiving feast. And I love ham. It's steady as it can be. You know what you're getting from ham and it's usually pretty damn good, but there are haters out there. You people are on my radar. Next. This last one comes in from @2QBFFB, my good buddy, one of my mentors in the business, I would say, Salvatore Stefanelli. Gardner Minshew is poblano stuffed cornbread. I think for this player comparison, you could say like cornbread, it looks boring on the outside, but then you open that up, you got some poblanos in there and you got some spice. I think that was kind of the way we thought Gardner Minshew, from the physical look perspective, he looks interesting, but 6th-round rookie, we learned anything but. That was not the truth. He was one of the most spicy, interesting young storylines from the early NFL season, and now he's gone. And quite frankly, that bums me out. That is gonna do it for the Week 13 edition, a Thanksgiving special edition of the Fantasy Football Survival Kit. I hope that no one was offended by any player comparisons here because I know food takes, they can be a little bit aggressive. People get all up in their feelings about food. I hope you had fun watching this as much as I had fun talking about it. And I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving out there. You better join the Facebook group, the Fantasy Football Survival Kit. I'll see you all in there, and I will see you all next week after we're a little bit fatter, but our Thanksgiving feasts feel better on the inside and hopefully better than our terrible fantasy teams.